it's your buddy Peace and Harmony with you here today. We are zooming in and focusing in on a very important and interesting discussion, and that is really how the narcissist creates an experience of weakness in one's life. Weakness is really when one is attached to something which is false, something which is not right, something which is incongruent, something which creates a cognitive dissonance. In other words, where the kinesthetic backing up is not aligned or congruent with what someone is saying. So oftentimes a narcissist, because of an inherent lack of identity, of I am, a discongruence between their personal mask, basically the persona, the false self, the charm, the two-faced sort of splitting behavior, that sort of magnetic energy that oftentimes is very manipulative in nature, as well as in a psychopath, but even more so on that spectrum, how this basically creates a weakness in others' life because it is so separate from what is really going on energetically within that person. A lot of people say, well, the narcissists, they have this really big ego, and that's part of the problem. They're arrogant, they're haughty, they're very quiet. They could have a lot of this quiet energy, such as we see in the covert narcissist, where they really abuse by neglect. They really abuse by a forceful silence, where they're causing others to feel as if they are not good enough. It's withholding of information. It's controlling. It's ignoring. It's treating you as if you're not worth the time of day, as we see in the covert narcissist, or overtly the communication that we see from a narcissist, where they always are expressing that they are better than other people, the holier than thou, more talented than thou, richer than thou, more beautiful than thou, more handsome than thou, etc., more sporty. You get what I'm saying. The alpha male, the alpha female, the oppressive people in your life or in your culture. And so the reason they are creating this weakness is because there's a disparity, there's a distinction, there's a difference between their persona, which is their public self, versus their private self. There's an incongruence. We often see this incongruence and what we're basically experiencing as ambiguity or uncertainty or distrust from this person. So when we talk about ambiguity, it means that there's this uncertainty. They will be splitting behind your back, talking about you behind your back, texting behind your back, keeping you concerned that they're always looking at somebody else, that they have another affair going on, they have new supply that they're hunting down. And so they keep you in the state of ambiguity and distrust, yet you're wanting to resolve this tension. So you try to please them, you try to be there, you try to fight, you have this conflict consciousness. This is creating a weakness and a breaking down of energy within you. And the negativity, again, once again, is put in place because your body is sensitive to the fact that there's this incongruence between this public persona and who that person is inside. There's a discongruence. There's something not right. There's something amiss. And furthermore, your true self, your authentic self, which is, your inner being, your inner person, the one who's sensitive, heart, we're talking about the heart here, people. And really, the heart that is open and that really knows things beyond what is analyzed. This is like screaming out for attention. This is screaming out for validation. This is screaming out for love. And is that center which makes you whole. And you are meant to go through life in your relationships feeling whole, feeling distinct, not feeling isolated, but feeling, whole and integrity and happy and coming from that space. The message that the narcissist is telling you is basically, you are not whole. You are flawed. You need me to tell you how to be, how to think, how to feel, and I am in control of you in that way. And so there's this negative energetic bond, and people over-identify with this individual as being the superior one, the one with, the money, the car, the the superior viewpoint, really what it boils down to. And that furthermore, I don't have what it takes on my own. So it's this negative assessment which creates this negative energy and this weakness, and then people begin to live in this weak, destructive energy. And it is really, people say, well, this, person in this experience has severed me from my life purpose. I feel depressed. I feel anxious. I feel depersonalized. I feel this gaslighting, this fear, this anger, this terror. Realize that this has become because you've been severed. You've been distinctly not connected to really your inner self and being able to follow that inner guidepost. You have a natural intuition and an instinct, but you have denied this oftentimes when you're around a narcissist in order to please them. You become hyper vigilant. You're trying to prevent their rage. You're trying to prevent their unhappiness. You're forcing the relationship to keep it around. You're trying to force their validation of you. You're trying to look for this approval. You're trying to get something out of them. Again, it's like getting a blood from a stone, blood from a turnip. It's not going to happen. So you need to have a realistic, heartfelt understanding and healing. And that is when you really understand that the weakness is basically a negative treatment and energy and emotion which this person has instilled or you have experienced. And very much like I was describing in the previous video, it's almost like an axe to wood. And realize that you are like the wood and you are as distinct from this person as an axe. So if you were to remove the axe and remove that weakness, remove that force, remove that destructive kind of degenerative energy and information from your life, get rid of it, and really kind of come into your being, realize that you are a human being. You have, an awareness, a consciousness about you, which is based, as in the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza, which is based in the creative source. It's not in the analytical mind, which oftentimes is hyper engaged in around a narcissist. You're hyper trying to analyze, determine, judge, put yourself into a category, fit in, belong. You're trying to force all these assertions, and you're trying to force yourself, and you're trying to force what they're trying to compartmentalize you into: a good wife, a good sister, a good this, a good, a beautiful that, a intelligent here in this way. They're trying to force kind of like a mold onto you, like dough. They're trying to force you into something which is not congruent with your internal self, which is your true power. So that is the weakness. So if you're to remove that axe, which is like that negative force, and really kind of come to your being in a moment, and like in the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza, really understand and know that within you, you have the power that is really part of your positive feeling, your positive experience is coming from within, and it's not coming from without. That person has tried to have a force and a power over you. So you need to have the courage, and you need to kind of come to this awareness and this consciousness repeatedly, again and again and again. And as you do that, you'll become to kind of come into your own, grow into your own, which the narcissist is trying to separate you from, because if they can always keep you from feeling negative about yourself, then they have power. That's just how they get through life, is knowing that they've been able to kind of have this impact, this axe-like effect on people. And realize that, the inner blueprint that you create, that sort of diamond-like quality where you etch and cut away at your own personal being and kind of begin to radiate, and like a diamond, like cutting a diamond, you're really like a diamond in the rough. And as you begin to protect yourself with the boundaries and the saying no, and surrounding yourself with good people and having positive mentors, and then positive action, taking action right away, you begin to kind of chisel away that negative energy, and then you begin to really emanate that from within and become more radiant and really cut the finer aspects of yourself, so that is beginning to manifest and be very strong in life. And like in the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza, I would definitely and highly recommend that you, thank goodness if you are watching this video, you understand English. So, it is with ultimate gratitude that I want you to understand that you have an incredible resource available to you. And really, I want you to approach this this recommendation that I'm giving you with total gratitude. And thank God that you just even understand English, that you're able to obtain this information. There's a great video and a great meditation I'm going to recommend that you engage in on a daily basis to have really incredible change in your life. And that is the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza. Dr. Joe, second word Dispenza, Dispenza. And I want you to pull up here on YouTube and begin with two of his videos. One is called the Binaural Beats, and it's his meditation called You Are the Placebo. It's a guided meditation. And I want you to engage in that. Set aside, an hour for yourself a day and begin that, as well as his rest and relax meditation videos. And it really helps you come into that personal space that we have been talking about here on the channel. It'll help you get more in tune with that and sort of dissolving that hurt, dissolving all those erroneous negative messages that are in place to weaken you in your life, and get you in touch with that strength of center where it's really very creative. And I talk about here on the channel how I really feel there's a lot of very creative people here. And by creative, I mean writers, artists, designers, architects, painters, craftsmen, carpenters, whatever your craft is. Maybe it's cooking, maybe it's writing, maybe it's video, maybe it's acting, singing. I really feel that those people who have been hurt by a narcissist, I think that there really is, in this YouTube village here and in this community that we have created, I think a lot of you are extremely talented and very creative in nature. That is my gut feeling, and that is why I'm giving you this information, to help you really kind of get into that creative spark and get you to really the place where you're seeing the options and opportunities, and really help you uncover, sort of through the shell that has been created in you, almost like a callus that has been created in you by this narcissist or by this psychopath, to help you shed that and become more heart-centered and stop the analyzing and judging that this narcissist has created in your life, and come to that more creative and positive space, and really begin to help answer those questions and become really immediately aware of the abundance and power and more positive feelings that are there for you in your life, and to really kind of come in touch with those and have it come very easily and effortlessly, and let down the struggle that has caused you, weeks and months and years of pain, and trying to analyze the why. And look what I'm experiencing now. You need to cease that struggle. You need to drop it right away, because it's those thought patterns that are not productive for you. You need to begin new thought patterns. So rather than feeling angry, I'm going to feel silence. And rather than feeling frustrated, I'm going to feel peace. And I want you to, really begin to use the sentence, rather than this, I am going to. Rather than being this, I am. And begin to separate and distinguish your thought patterns, because your thought patterns, if they are hurtful or destructive in nature, they're leading you to the wrong place. They're leading you to the wrong people. They're leading you kind of to that repressed self versus the animated, energized, higher vibration self. So rather than feeling shy, I'm feeling what would be a great, this is a very good one, I'm feeling postured. And if you can feel postured, and these again are feelings, where you really then begin to create the space within your body. If you can imagine, this positive energy just coming into your body like a sponge and filling up and almost heightening your vertebrae. So just like you have vertebrae in your back, and you have the discs there, just imagine this positive energy filling the discs of your back and filling the energy around your spine, almost like a sponge, coming from dry to moist. If you're familiar with a sponge, imagine that positive energy filling your back like a full sponge versus a dry sponge. And just imagine what that feels like for a moment. So, and I know a lot of people, they begin to have this depressed body, and if you slouch over, you're automatically going to feel negative. And I know that this video is like cutting off the top of my head, and I apologize for that. my stand here. I need to get a new stand. But, you know, begin to really determine, and, you know, rather than being drawn down, I'm going to be drawn up. And then begin to look up. And if you know, rather than just feeling dull, I'm going to feel brilliant. And then feel brilliant, and then look around. And you'll begin to then feed your senses, your body, mind, and spirit, you know, your vision. I call it filling the well, filling the inner space, filling the inner reservoir, almost like a lush garden. You're in touch with that lushness, which is kind of it's an energy, it's an emotion. And when you feel that, and then you begin to sensitize, you know, you'll realize that you have the power to enhance that experience. And so when I talk about in the recovery journal about the lessons learned and the procrastination, I also want you to then really work on getting rid of those feelings, experiences, and items in your environment which are detracting away from this inner energy. Old perfumes, old clothes, old furniture, you know, all the different things that you might have had really kind of energetically filled with this negativity or this not your best self. You know, people have a lot of things in their closet which just don't make them look their best or feel their best. They have a lot of old colognes, you know, that make them feel like that same old person. And then you're just repetitively, you know, in that cycle. You know, change this up. Really work on getting rid of those items, everything, whether it's in your cabinets, your closet, your drawers, your mindset. Look at really getting rid of, discarding those things in your environment which are causing this negative energy and taking up the space, and then begin to replace it with something positive, a new scent, a new piece of furniture, a new color, different clothing, something that is helping you to transcend and move away from that hurt and weak energy and kind of coming more into your radiant own. Is peace and harmony with you here today. I hope these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.